BeatMaker Squad, what's good? It's your boy Cheese. So recently I discovered that Waldorf Nave actually allows you to use pretty much any sound as an oscillator. So today I'm going on a quest to gather sounds. Let's do this. In order to do this, I'll be using Audio Share. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a folder so I can have all my sounds in one place.
Oh, I'm out of here.
Alright, so now I've collected a few sounds on my phone. I want to get them to my iPad. So in order to do this, I'm going to open up the Files app, locate these files under the Audio Share Files menu, select them, and then send them to my iPad via AirDrop. Now that I've located each sound on my iPad, I'll be creating a folder in order to keep them all in one location. Also, I'll be cutting off the silence from the front and the back ends of each of the samples so that they'll work better in Nave. I'm actually going to speed through this process so we can get to the more interesting part of this video. One other thing to note that I'm doing here is changing the title of each file because their names were changed during the AirDrop. So I just want them to have their original name so that way they'll be easier to locate once they're inside of Nave. Now, once I've completed changing the names and organizing the files, I'm just going to hit the share icon in Audio Share, swipe across until I see copy to Nave. Nave will open up and I should be given a confirmation that the media import has been successful. Now that we're inside of Nave, let's take a look at some of the controls. The first two controls that you'll see are detune and semitone. These have to do with the pitch. The wave control allows you to choose which part of the waveform you want to play when you press the keys on the synthesizer. The travel control allows you to move through the waveform while playing it. So if it is a positive value, it'll move forward through the waveform, but if it's a negative value, it'll move in the reverse through the waveform. Now that we've covered the controls in Nave, let's see how our sounds work as oscillators within Nave. So the first thing we're going to do is press the initialize button to set the synthesizer back to its initial settings. Next, we're going to press the full screen button in order to give us access to the wave table. Now we'll choose Tools, and in the drop-down menu we'll choose iTunes folder. Inside of this iTunes folder will be all of the folders that we've imported through Audio Share. Also, just a quick note, if you'd like to import multiple wavetables, such as a folder full of them like I've done here, you can actually do that using the iTunes file share. Alright, now that we've got the lines into Nave, let's hear what it sounds like as an oscillator. Now the red line you see going across the screen is the wavetable being cycled through. So you can actually do this manually by using the bottom two pads. As I move towards the left, it'll bring me to the beginning of the wavetable, and as I move towards the right, it'll bring me to the end of the wavetable. I can also just press down on individual places and you'll see that the red line will remain static. I can also move through the waveform automatically by using the outer two pads. The rightmost pad will move through the waveform in a forward manner and the leftmost pad will move through the waveform in reverse. You can also use the octave key to audition the sounds at different octaves. Now that we've heard the wave at different octaves, let's see what it sounds like when we create a patch with it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just go into the Mod and Keys page in order to drop the octave of the keyboard. Now I'm going to adjust the travel speed just so I can have the wave still move but not as fast. You'll notice that at a value of 0, it gives me no sound. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of travel speed so it can definitely move through the wave and that the sound can have a little bit of movement. Currently, it's not the most interesting sound, but let's keep moving forward. Alright, so let's mold the sound by adjusting the amplitude envelope. I'm going to adjust the release here so it can ring out a little longer. Also, I'm getting the mood of like a pad, so let's go back to the amplitude envelope and let's increase the attack as well so it kind of fades in. Not so bad. Remember, these are lions eating some big animal. Now, in order to continue shaping the sound, I'm going to turn down the cutoff frequency of the filter and add some resonance. Now, I really like the way it sounds when the filter kind of opens and closes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn on the modulation for the filter and assign it to LFO1. Now I'm going to add it at just a bit of an amount. It's moving a bit too fast for me, so what I'm going to do here is go to the LFO and just change the speed and just drop the speed down. Yeah, that's about right. Now as I'm playing, I'm thinking, you know, it'd be really cool if the filter kind of swept along and opened up gradually as I played. So what I'm going to do here is adjust the filter envelope. I'm going to bring the attack up as well as the decay, sustain, and release. Okay, and then I'm going to adjust the amount of the envelope that will be sent to the cutoff. And as you can hear, the cutoff is opening slightly and gradually as I play. Alright, now for me it's time to get to the fun part, and that's add, you know, some effects to this sound. So let's start with the modulation effects. Phase is a bit much. Let's try the chorus instead. Yeah, see, this I like. Let's make some small adjustments. And let's also add some reverb to give it a little more depth. Yeah, I like that so far. One thing I'd like you to keep in mind here is that we've only been using one oscillator. So what we're going to do now is switch to oscillator 2 in order to add another oscillator in. So let's turn off all the effects so the sound is nice and dry. Let's bring down wave 1 and turn up wave 2. Let's go to full screen, tools, iTunes folder, and let's scroll to one of the other sounds. Here I've loaded up the iron dial sound. I'm gonna be very honest. I went through this sound. I tried to create an extra layer with this particular oscillator, and it didn't really sound too good to me. So I just scrapped it and I just cut it out of the video. So instead of the iron dial, let's use the shower. Now as I cycle through the shower wavetable, it just has a lot of different stuff going on in there that I really like. Now if the travel time is too fast, it's not going to sound good. Okay, so what I've done here is I have an LFO on the wave. So what that means is that the red line will basically be starting at different places every time I play, depending upon where the LFO is at. I'm also adjusting the spectrum. The spectrum is kind of like a bandpass filter. It basically allows you to run through the audio spectrum from the very lowest all the way up to the very highest in the wavetable. I like what this does to the sound, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna modulate this. And I'm gonna just assign this LFO1. So now you can hear it just moves a little bit more. Okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring wave 2 down and bring wave 1 up just a bit. And hear what the two sound like together. And let's throw the effects back on. This is a completely usable sound in my opinion. What I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna bring the filter down just a bit so the envelope allows it to sweep just a little bit further and it can be a little more prominent when you hear it. At this point, you know what? I'm thinking, let's just adjust the reverb just a touch. And I'm pretty much done. So let's hit the save button. Let's give it a name. How about Lion Shower? It's a pad, and let's save it, and we're out of here. As usual, I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. Hopefully you'll get out there, collect some sounds, and start making your own patches within Nave. I'll do some more sound synthesis in Nave and more tutorials on synthesizers in general, just to kind of help people understand how they work, so you guys can start creating your own patches and things of that nature. It's your boy Cheese, and I'm signing off for BeatMakers the Squad. Peace.